happens. All right. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, April 29th. This is First Things First. Welcome aboard. Simply Cyber's daily morning cybersecurity threat briefing. I'm your host, Gerald Auger. And over the next 30 minutes, I'll be delivering the top cybersecurity news of the day and providing expert analysis on each of those stories. What it means to you as a practitioner, or if you're looking to break into the industry, I guarantee you there will be something here for you. At a minimum, networking is boss. Shout out and thanks to this stream sponsor, Barricade Cyber Solutions. Listen, maybe you're Austin P. State. Cyber criminals have stolen your company's data and derailed your business operations. Barricade Cyber Solutions will help you resolve this ransomware attack and get your business back on track. Keep Eric Taylor and his gang on speed dial. Because I'm telling you, man, when you deal with an incident, it is hot and fast. I want to remind you, if you hold professional certifications that require CPEs, each episode of First Things First is worth half a CPE, 2.5 a week, 10 a month. They stack up, people, and you're going to be here anyways. So just take a minute, leave a comment, right? Say what's up or something. It'll galvanize you in the annals of time that you were here at this show. And if you ever get audited, you can be like, what? Okay, if you're live, love it. I see you guys. It's crazy. Like we got 38 in the first minute, and it's Friday morning, so I guess we're all jazzed up, ready to rock and roll and blast into this weekend. If you're watching on replay, same for you. Thanks for catching the stream. You are also getting close to blasting into the weekend, and I love it. If you want, when that timer gets down to 0, although I might do a little pleasantries because that timer's moving pretty quick this morning, we will get into the news story, so you can just scrub to the right since you're in the future and we're in the past. But for the next 1 minute and 11 seconds and change, I'm going to be welcoming everybody into the stream. Welcome, everybody. What's up, Brandy? Eric Taylor, I see you. Oh, yeah, we'll be pumping radar in a little bit. Hey, Tracy James. It's been a minute. Read it quick. I need to get this coffee going. I saw Jackson, Chad, Anthony Gibbs. Sure, Carrie's in here. Josh Mason, Kimberly, Michelle. I see you guys. Hey, Cybersecurity Central, I was pimping your shirt on stream yesterday. I don't know if you guys caught that. Got to get this coffee hard-lined. What's up, Bangladesh? Good to see that, Oswald. Hey, Raymond. Good morning. Good morning. Christopher Word. Hit everyone. You got the full bingo card this week, Christopher. Hey, Stephen, Jesus, this coffee really needs to get going. Stefan, saw you posting some running videos. Inspired. I've been getting back out on the path, running, stacking the miles up. Hey, Adrian, good to see you. Adrian, appreciate you echoing on social media all the Simply Cyber activities and goings on. I see that. I appreciate that. Hey, Nick. Hey, Scott Bush. What's up, Joey Hyde? Yeah, Hardline Coffee, man. You know what's up. Josh Mason, my man. Good morning, Anna Lynn. Good to see you. Hey, Eula Chua, I appreciate you getting up early to be with us this morning. The timer has expired, but I guys, if you just grant me some grace, I need like 15 more seconds to just like get this coffee going and get this motor going. I'm like a lawnmower that's been sitting all winter, and yeah, you change the spark plugs, you put fresh gas in it, and you've given it the little rubber bubble thing a couple pushes, maybe a couple more than you really need to, but you still got to pull the pull chain like 5-6 times, right? We're on like pull chain 4. I just need to pull this pull chain 2 more times, okay? What's up, Ghana? See you, Benjamin. Hey, Fabio. Hey, yo, Nicholas. Whew. Guys, 5 a.m. there too, Michelle. Well, I appreciate you getting up. Catching it live is definitely where it's at. I'm telling you right now. Whew. Yeah, the primer bulb, Joey. All right, here we go. I do love the DJ Shadow background music. I hope you guys can hear it. You're not just watching me bop up and down to nothing. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who offered me strong suggestions yesterday with all exclamation points, I have written down labels for all of my sound effects, so now I won't be bumbling around over here in case I need to, drop a WoW or a Mario coin, right? Okay. All right, guys. I think the coffee has done its job. I'll be sipping yeah. Oh, I appreciate it, Michelle. All right, I'm going to be trying to sipping this coffee as we go, but let's get into the news, yeah? I love this song. All right, guys. So if you want to play along, go over to cisoseries.com. That's where we get our stories. David Spark and his gang, they do all the great work, and we piggyback on top of it. So I'll probably, just so you know, we're going to go through the news. I might pleasantry a little bit more at the end of the stream, just to see how everybody's doing, how everybody's week was. Okay, so let's get into the news.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
It's Friday, April 29th, 2022. Global security spending set to hit $198 billion by 2025.
Okay.
Worldwide cybersecurity spending is set to grow by nearly 58% over the next few years to reach $198 billion by 2025, according to global data. The market analyst claimed that increased geopolitical uncertainty combined with the COVID-19 pandemic has created an uneven playing field in favor of threat actors. Spending on software will be the greatest over the period, followed by services and then hardware. Securing the new hybrid workplace, tackling the persistent ransomware challenge, mitigating supply chain risk, and adopting zero-trust approaches will all drive growth in spending from the $125.5 billion recorded in 2020.
All right.
Straight cash, homie.
Yeah, straight cash, homie's right. Okay, a couple things here, guys. If you are not aware of this, like, you will see all these different ranges. 198 billion by 2025. I've seen 221 billion by 2022, right? Like 2 years ago, I saw that. You will find it, like, basically you can find any report you want to find that's going to say that there's going to be some massive increase, in this instance 58%, that's going to equal some 3-digit billion-dollar number by some date within the next 3 to 5 years. Like, you could make a script and use variables for those values, this number value, this year value, and this percentage value. I'm telling you right now, like, I'm sure that this report has some validity to it, but I'm telling you, like, these numbers are subjective at best, and you'll see this all the time. So all this is telling you is that the increased spend on cybersecurity is going to go up. And they cite in the story, it's because ransomware threat actors are all over the place and doing great work. Work from home, zero trust, all this other stuff. Like, this is all fine. But to me, this is just short of like a thin funded PSA announcement, right? Like, this has been the case for years. We're not going anywhere. Cybersecurity is not studying like Canterbury Tales where the spend is going to be going dramatically down because no one's really interested in that anymore, right? So just be aware. If you are been in the game for a while, I'm sure you've seen these stories, these reports year over year. It just means, like, you can go to the CFO maybe and say, hey, we're going to have to increase budget a bit. Like, the threat landscape is continuing to increase. The experts are suggesting there's going to be bigger spend. But, I think it's Jeremiah Grossman who said it best a couple years ago. Like, you see this spend go up significantly year over year, but you don't see us getting better at defending. All it is more product and market. All it is more vendors pushing product at higher prices. That's what the spending is. You're not, like, spend doesn't correlate to defense, right? I've said this a million times. If you spend $1 million on security and then you're like this secure, whatever this secure means, and then you spend another $1 million, you are not twice as secure. It just means you spent twice as much. A lot of times, all right, I'm going to slow down. I can't get spicy on the first story, but, like, I'll just leave it at this and go to the next story. Listen, a lot of times people will correlate spend with, like, level of efficacy of defense. And that's a completely, it's a complete myth. And it's a dangerous, slippery slope if you get into it. And the final thing is, some organizations will literally spend money, right? They'll have a security solution and then they'll spend money on another security solution that does things that overlaps with their existing. So they're not even getting any value. They're just getting duplicative controls. And they're probably not configured correctly. And here's a dirty little secret. Let me see this little dirty secret. Like, if you're a CISO, right, and you really don't know what you're doing, or you have some idea, but you're not really great. Like, if you buy a product or a solution, like, oh, we're going to, listen, zero trust architecture, it's the big thing. Look, here's all these reports. Give me $1 million for zero trust. Okay, here's $1 million. Well, now you've just bought yourself 6 months or 3 months of planning, 6 months of implementation, 3 months of tuning. You just bought yourself a year of excuse to your board and stuff on oh, we're moving towards zero trust. We're moving towards zero trust. The average lifespan of a CISO right now is 18 to 24 months. And it's usually because the CISO is getting poached because there's not a lot of us, right? So I'm whatever. There's a lot on the bone here to go through. What I'm just saying is spend does not equal security, and sometimes spend is done for different reasons.
Malware loader Bumblebee adopted by known ransomware access brokers. Several threat groups believed to be initial access facilitators for some ransomware gangs are transitioning to a new first-stage malware downloader dubbed Bumblebee. The malware is used to deploy known penetration testing implants such as Cobalt Strike, Sliver, and Meterpreter. Researchers at Proofpoint state, quote, Bumblebee is a sophisticated downloader containing anti-virtualization checks and a unique implementation of common downloader capabilities. The increase of Bumblebee in the threat landscape coincides with Baza Loader, a popular payload that facilitates follow-on compromises disappearing recently from Proofpoint threat data. End quote.
Okay, so this is interesting. I'm gonna speculate a little bit here on this. Okay, so normally threat actors are going to okay, so you're a threat actor who's going to do ransomware. Okay, there's an ecosystem of threat actors, and some of them are good at getting access, some of them are good at running ransomware, some are good at being money mules, etc. The Conti ransomware gang has basically gone from purchasing compromised access to doing it in-house. And I think maybe here's my speculation. I think maybe some other threat actors are starting to bring that service in-house, which means that the people who go and fish credentials and now they've got valid creds that aren't compromised, or excuse me, that aren't discovered, their wares, if you will, are no longer as in demand, right? So it's like having a lawnmower cutting service, and all of a sudden, like, I just buy my own lawnmower and start mowing my lawn. Well, now the lawnmower and cutting service it's not as appealing. So now what they're doing is, in addition to getting initial access, they're also planting, first stage exploitation. So Cobalt Strike in this particular instance, right? So now they're offering a little bit more value. Hey, if you buy it from us, not only are you going to get access, but we've already got the first stage load in there. So you don't even have to log in and load that first load. It's guaranteed. You can just answer the beacon and push down your second stage payload. So whether it's TrickBot, whether it's ransomware, whatever. So to me, this is an interesting observation of the economics of malicious threat actors in the market demanding that the initial access people bring more value to the table because their value is not as high in demand. So interesting, clever. The good news is for us is, and I would invite chat to do this or comment on this. Initial access can be difficult to detect. Not initial access. Compromised creds can be difficult to detect, right? So Christopher Word falls for fish, gives up his creds. We don't have MFA or something like that. Well, if it's involved in a data breach, right? And you just prove that you just log in and validate that the creds works, and then you go away. Like for me as a defender, like the logs aren't going to show any kind of anomalous behavior. It's just going to show one login from somewhere, which might get lost in the noise. So those creds will stay valid. And when they sell them, the threat actor who buys them will have an opportunity to take advantage of it. Now, if the original threat actor is not only getting access, but also installing a first stage payload like Cobalt Strike, my tooling has more of a chance of detecting that, which is huge, right? So the game might be up, or the jig might be up before it actually gets to the threat actors who are actually going to detonate real nasty malware in our environment. So interesting economics of threat actors, and also good for us.
Cloudflare thwarts record DDoS attack. Cloudflare on Wednesday disclosed that it acted to mitigate a DDoS attack that peaked at 15.3 million requests per second. The company called it one of the largest HTTPS DDoS attacks on record. The volumetric DDoS attack is said to have lasted less than 15 seconds and targeted an unnamed Cloudflare customer operating a crypto launchpad. Cloudflare said the latest attack was launched from a botnet consisting of roughly 6,000 unique compromised devices, with 15% of the attack emanating from Indonesia, followed by Russia, Brazil, India, Colombia, and the US.
Well, okay, a couple things here. One, I mean, this is real basic, but I want this show to be inclusive of everybody. Distributed denial of service attack is when you have multiple endpoints, so like, multiple compromised machines or IoT devices or network switches or something, things on the internet that you can use regularly. Like I could be using my computer right now to do this live stream, but my computer's also compromised, part of botnet, and the botnet controller commands it to right now start sending traffic to this IP address. And when you do it with 15 million different endpoints, you can overwhelm a service. And in this case, some crypto launchpad. Now, the thing with DOS is that you have to maintain it. You have to keep it up, or else you could see here in the graphic right here is where they turned it off and it started trickling off. And then 15 seconds, the platform was back up. Now, why would you do this? And what does it mean to us in this instance? Two things happen here. One, this is a giant botnet, right? So very powerful. Secondly, it was only up for 15 seconds, which makes me think of two things. Either one, it was a proof of concept to demonstrate to a client, hey, like, do you want to buy this service? We can knock anything off online. Well, show me the efficacy of this. Okay, give me a site. This site right here. Boom, 15 seconds later, and some great pub on news stories. And there you go. We've proved our efficacy. And by the way, the price has gone up 1.5%. So that's my initial thought. The second thought, because it was a crypto platform, it makes me think that it's possible this could have had to do with some type of trade, right? With trading, it's all about speed to market and timing and, buy, sell things. So I wonder if knocking this thing out for 15 seconds allowed some threat actor to make a massive gain on a trade. So that's just some thoughts. But I'll tell you what, guys, typically for me, when something doesn't make sense or I'm a little confused, I typically follow the money. And that almost always reveals kind of the true deal.
Straight cash, homie.
That's right.
French fiber optic cable attacks accentuate critical infrastructure vulnerabilities. A day after what French telecom companies are calling a large-scale coordinated attack which destroyed a large number of fiber optic cables powering the French internet, authorities there are investigating the attacks as a criminal act. The Wednesday incident disrupted internet service throughout France, and those responsible seem to have known how to do as much damage as possible. As one operator told the newspaper Le Parisien, quote, "The cables were cut on both sides to complicate the repairs. The urgency is to resolder everything, and this represents tens of thousands of smaller fiber optic cables." End quote.
Okay. So it's weird. Like, so France was attacked, basically. France's internet got totally bucked up. But I don't understand why. Again, so this one, normally I just said follow the money, but I wouldn't think that this is financially related. This seems geopolitical to attempt to knock out a whole country. I know France is part of NATO, right? And France and NATO and Ukraine and Russia kind of thing, but I wouldn't think of France as a big player in this game. I'm not quite sure. Let me look in chat here. No, I don't see it in chat either. Like, this is pretty nasty business though, guys. Cutting fiber optics right here. You can see it in the picture. I don't know if you can see it. That's a little too zoomed in. That looks cut right there. So somebody like Ocean's 11 style was out there in the dark, just grind cutting right through it. This would be an interesting one to kind of follow along the lines as they investigate it to discover what it is. I feel like this might be kind of like an Ocean's 11 type thing. Like I said, geopolitical a minute, but I really can't think of how France is in any way involved in something that would escalate to the point where this would be some type of appropriate response, right? And then hacktivism, my mind goes to hacktivism now. Like, so, but is there uprisings or revolution or anything going on in France right now? Not that I'm aware of. So I unfortunately, I don't have much of comment on this story. Like, this kind of came out of the blue, but I'd be curious to follow up on it.
Thanks to today's episode. You can learn more at www.feroot.com. That's FEROOT.com. Breastcancer.org suffers data breach. According to the research team at Safety Detectives, breastcancer.org, a world-renowned breast cancer charity, has suffered a data exposure affecting users of the organization's website. The cybersecurity team found an Amazon S3 bucket owned by breastcancer.org that was misconfigured and left publicly available without any authentication controls in place. The misconfigured bucket has therefore exposed hundreds of thousands of files containing sensitive images belonging to the website's users. In particular, a portion of these images contained detailed EXIF data which could potentially be used to locate and harass users. The report on this breach can be located at safetydetectives.com, and a direct link is included in this headlines episode page at cisoseries.com.
All right.
Attacker breached dozens of GitHub.
Calm down. What is up with this? Like, when I originally was setting the stories up for today, for first things first, just opening the things, I saw the breastcancer.org breached, and all I was thinking was, so here's a fact, guys. So sometimes threat actors will just spray and pray, right? They have no idea who they're going to get. They don't know if they're going to get a bank or a nonprofit organization that helps individuals deal with breast cancer, right? And they only, figure out who they got once their beacon-ins start chiming in, and they start getting C2 traffic, and they're like, okay, like let's check out what our net's caught, right? That's part of the reason it's called phishing. So when they discovered that they got this one, I would think that they'd be like, okay, this isn't really too much value, right? We can't get much value out of this, although it is a huge nonprofit. They probably have money. I would think that you could extort and say, listen, if you don't give us money, we're going to release these pictures online and, compromise the confidence that your user base has in your stuff. And instead they just published it online anyways. So it's kind of stupid. I almost feel like this is not a professional criminal hacker and just some kind of Yahoo who basically found an S3 bucket and then just kind of like to see the world burn, honestly. Again, can we in 2022 please not have freaking misconfigured Amazon S3 buckets? Like, I get it. Okay. I get that you can have public buckets and it makes sense, but how do you have public buckets with sensitive images when you are a breast cancer related organization? Like, obviously you're going to have sensitive information or sensitive photos. I'm not even talking about the EXIF data. I'm just talking about like exposed women, right? I mean, that's very private and personal. I'm sure they don't want those pictures out. And like leaving the bucket open without authentication controls in place. Like, God, that's lazy. Like either it was a mistake or it was lazy. But either way, it's unacceptable. Like, you need to have deployment configuration standards. And you know what? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt before I start flipping out. It is a nonprofit, so sometimes it's volunteer based. Maybe they had somebody help them build the website on Amazon and they didn't understand because they weren't a professional IT person, right? Maybe it was someone's, kid who's taken a computer science class in college or something. But for one of the largest world-renowned charities, you'd think that they would have IT staff that is qualified to do these type of things. So I don't want to judge too hard because it does happen, but it just happens so often. And when you have sensitive information like this, to me, it's just a higher risk level, especially for the population that you're protecting, that you have to have better standards on deploying things like S3 buckets. Like, they had to have had the conversation. Like, when people are like, okay, let's have clients upload pictures of them naked from the top, from the waist up. And then someone had to have said, well, how are we going to protect that information? Because that seems like really sensitive photos. Like, you had to have had that conversation. You could not have not had that conversation. So something got lost in translation between, we need to protect this information, and, hey, look, I deployed an S3 bucket, right? Like, ugh.
Using stolen OAuth tokens. Following up on a story we brought you last week, GitHub revealed details tied to last week's incident where hackers, using stolen OAuth tokens, downloaded data from private repositories. Quote, "We do not believe the attacker obtained these tokens via a compromise of GitHub or its systems because the tokens in question are not stored by GitHub in their original usable formats," said Mike Hanley, Chief Security Officer of GitHub. GitHub analysis of the incident concludes that the attackers authenticated to the GitHub API using the stolen OAuth tokens issued to accounts Heroku and Travis CI. Onyx ransomware
Hold on one second, Steve. Calm down. Yeah, so this is an interesting story. I feel like we talked about this recently. So this might be a follow-up to that story, but basically those oath tokens, as near as I can tell, it's like when you log into web apps and stuff like that, instead of having to authenticate every single time, you get issued tokens, right? So you can use those as kind of like it's like getting a wristband at a club, right? You show your ID at the beginning. I'm 21 or older, and you get the band. And now every time you walk in and out, they just see the band and you walk in. That's basically what an oath token is. So someone stole some oath tokens, which then allowed them to basically, if you were ever young and you went to the club and you like pull the band off someone else in the bathroom and then stick it on you. I've heard people do that, not me, right? And that's basically what they're doing here. All I would say is these type of attacks can happen. Moving to API-based everything and really like Web 2.5, because it's not metaverse, but it's very much like automation, API data calls, those type of things, integrations of different services to make one kind of nice comprehensive service. That's what these oath tokens are for. So you really need to, when you're doing like user audit logging and stuff like that, you should also be mindful, if you can, of kind of oath tokens checking in and stuff like that. Maybe you can apply some conditional access, whether or not a request coming from somewhere that's unusual or a request with higher privileges. Maybe sometimes you can set tokens to expire after a certain period of time, maybe like, 5 days, 1 day. It really becomes a risk decision based on whatever those tokens give you access to, right? The higher the sensitivity of the data, the shorter the window you want for those tokens to be valid. Unless it's an S3 bucket and then you need a token. You just go take it, right?
Destroys files instead of encrypting them. A new Onyx ransomware operation is destroying files larger than 2 megabytes instead of encrypting them, preventing those files from being decrypted even if a ransom is paid. According to Malware Hunter Team, Onyx threat actors steal data from a network before encrypting their devices. This data is then used in double extortion schemes where they threaten to publicly release the data if a ransom is not paid. But as this is just randomly created data and not encrypted, there is no way to decrypt the files larger than 2 megabytes in size. According to Jiří Vinopal, a forensic analyst at the Czech Republic's CERT, CERT, this ransomware is based on the Chaos ransomware, which includes the same damaging encryption routine.
I have to imagine that this is just so Onyx ransomware gets street cred in pub, because this is a total a-hole move. Okay. Here, like, this is the source code we're looking at right here. Basically what this line, this block of code right here says, is if, basically ransomware iterates over files, right? Encrypt ish, right? If it's .exe or .dll, it'll skip. So the OS continues to work. But anyways, if it's greater than 2 gigs, don't encrypt. So right here, if it's less than 2 gigs, encrypt it. If it's more than 2 gigs, basically overwrite it. And then does it say encrypt it afterwards? No, it just overwrites it with a bunch of garbage. So it looks encrypted, basically, but there's nothing there. They've basically destroyed that data. And think about the files that are 2 gigs. That's like images, backup. Okay, so you're seeing me real time figure this out. This might be a very lazy kind of killing a mosquito with a cannon type solution to deleting or eradicating backups. Eric Taylor and all the SOC analysts on here, think about this for a second. Put your comments in chat. I'll either go back or do it right now. Backups are almost always going to be bigger than 2 gigs, right? So if you overwrite them, if you basically use this crude metric of what a backup is, 2 gigs or greater, and you overwrite it, then the victim may think that they still have backups. They'd still have to buy the key to decrypt the file, though, so that's not any good. No, never mind. I guess throw that out. That's not a good idea. But it's going to look like you have your 2 gig files, your databases, your backups, your large file repos, data lakes, if you have those going on, if you're data science group, research, images. Like 2 gigs isn't that big anymore. So this is a total D head thing. So they're going to charge you to the key, and then they're going to be laughing their butt off when you're able to only decrypt part of your lost files. So kind of a D thing to do. Again, it's getting a news story time right now. So I don't really understand what their motivation is. It says 2 megabytes here. I don't think it's 2 megabytes though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 200 it's 200 million bytes. 200 million. Maybe that is 2 megabytes. Either way, if it's 2 megabytes, that's even more of a prick move, because you're definitely not going to get anything. At that point, they're just selling you a key that doesn't really do anything except unlock like maybe a couple text files or something like that. All right. Just be mindful, guys. 2 megs. Be mindful, guys. Anything that you really should be taking best practices to protect and recover from ransomware, right? So a lot of protection mechanisms you can put in place, educate your end users, EDR solutions, network segmentation if you can afford it. And then as far as recovery goes, you want immutable backups. You want second set of backups. You want to practice recovering, right? I know it's a big pain in the ass. It eats up your whole weekend, 1 weekend a quarter or every half year, but you need to practice it, because when it's go time, someone said this to me. I forget who it was, but like the military doesn't practice shooting the guns when they enter war, right? They practice before. So when they enter war, they know exactly how the weapons work. They know exactly what it feels like, how to shoot, what aims and everything like that. Like you practice. So when it's time, you're ready to go. You do not want to be practicing ransomware recovery for the first time in the middle of a ransomware incident. It will not go well for you. And you may want to call Barricade Cyber Solutions.
Elon Musk wants Twitter DMs to be end-to-end encrypted, like Signal. This statement comes days after the microblogging service announced it officially entered into an agreement to be acquired by an entity wholly owned by Elon Musk, with the transaction valued at approximately $44 billion or $54.20 per share in cash. The deal, which is expected possibly to be closed over the next 6 months, will see it becoming a privately held company. Musk has also laid out other goals, including, quote, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating spam bots, and authenticating all humans, end quote. Today,
Okay, so, I don't know, like for some reason, I didn't realize until a couple days ago that like Elon Musk buying Twitter, like I get it. He's Tony Stark and he can buy things and he's got political views, but I didn't think he was like extreme and that this was like going to like ruin anything. So I haven't been as caught up in all the Elon buying Twitter news, but one thing that I'm excited about is that Elon is a very smart guy, right? And I feel like Twitter has just been kind of existing, right? Like Twitter hasn't really changed all that much. They added like the Twitter Blue, which was like kind of a cheesy way to make money, and then they've done advertisements, but like the platform hasn't really kicked butt, right? They introduced Twitter Spaces, but only because Clubhouse came out and they're like, "Oh, that's an idea. Let's steal that idea." Right? So like Twitter hasn't really done anything cool. And I think with Elon in charge, they will do cool stuff. It will become a cool platform to use for different reasons. I'm looking forward to the features that come out and the functionality and how this platform can really, really be interesting. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking about that. We'll see how it goes. It's still going to take 4 or 5 months for him to fully purchase it. Yeah, Twitter Spaces really has not taken off. Exactly. Well, Clubhouse kind of sucked too. Although I will tell you guys, Stoke who's like a bug bounty guy on YouTube, and he's a professional bug bounty guy too. Pretty cool guy. He does live streams like this, but he has Twitter Spaces open on the screen, like where our chat is right now, and he invites people, kind of the way I did the call-in show with Stacy Loki a couple weeks ago. He did that with Twitter Spaces. It was very cool. I'm trying to figure out how to do that for Simply Cyber, but it's a work in progress. I don't have a ton of time for that. Okay.
It's the return of our
Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. So let me tell you what's going on this week before you bounce. I want to do Hangout. I do want to hang out for a minute. Just so you guys know, some of you may know this, some of you may not. I work for a company called ThreatGen, in addition to doing Simply Cyber and the Citadel and some other things. And I also do live streams and stuff with the ThreatGen channel. So if you're interested in, if you're available today, I think it's at 3:30. Yeah, 3:30 right here. Here, let me set a reminder so I don't forget. I'll be on with Clintbo Dungeon. This is a brand new show, and the concept is, if you like First Things First, we go, like you were here all day, right? You saw it. We spent a couple minutes on each story. We bounce around. It gives you a nice morning threat briefing to be able to go into your day a little bit smarter, a little bit more informed, being able to make better decisions and just be better at practicing cybersecurity. This show is about taking one story and diving deep. Ow, I just punched my microphone. Taking one story and diving deep into it, right? So getting into it, right? I think we might be talking about the Bored Ape Yacht Club fraud, Instagram multi-factor bypass hack thing, getting into the technical details, getting into like fraud in the crypto space a little bit deeper. It's a 30-minute show. I think it's going to be cool. It's brand new. So, we always go through a couple stumbles the first show, but I wanted to invite you to come check it out later today. And then literally, as I hang up on Deep Dive, I'm going to go live on What's on Your Radar. This is a Simply Cyber branded show. Barricade Cyber Solutions does it with me. So myself, Eric Taylor, and another senior InfoSec professional will come on and talk about something that they dug into this week and what's on their radar. Like, why did this come up? What's the importance of it? What's the value? It's basically taking what we're into right now and communicating it to you. I think that this is perfect show if you're a junior analyst or engineer in the field wanting to make context of some of the things that you've been hearing, and also get the mindset and thought process of senior practitioners on how we approach certain topics, certain challenges, etc. So that is what's going on later today. I hope you can join us. So you'd have to go to Simply Cyber. Well, you can see it right there under my name. simplycyber.io/streams will take you to all of the Simply Cyber streams, including What's on Your Radar at 4:00. And if you go to YouTube and look for ThreatGen, right? This right here, this logo, this is the ThreatGen channel. So you can see we only have 509 subscribers, so it's still underground. It's still OG to get in there and subscribe and be part of the first 1,000. But yeah, it's good. I'll be hanging out in there. Spend a couple more minutes in here with you guys. So that's been First Things First. I really genuinely appreciate y'all being here. I hope y'all all had a great week, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to stay here for just a minute, but if you want to bounce and take off, have a great day, and we'll see you a little bit later. Otherwise, happy to hang out for a few minutes before bouncing. All right, Losses Beast 2. I'll see you at 4-2. Yeah, Christopher Word. My pleasure, Eula Chua. Thank you so much for getting up early to be with us this morning. That's right. I picked the thumbnail art, Carrie, for that deep dive. Have a great weekend, Malik. Thank you very much. My pleasure, Patrick. Oh, yeah. This coffee's good. It's really coming in full steam now. Got an air conditioner guy coming. I think I might have to replace my air conditioner, guys. That is not a cheap endeavor. Ooh, hey, Nick Barker. I'll consider that a W, big W. Love it, Benjamin. Thank you, guys. Want to hear what I've settled for the sounds for the show? Guys, I wasn't ready to go spicy on that first story. Honestly, I was feeling it, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't go all in. Soundboard needs boing sound. So I've got the classics, right? We've got the spicies, right? Obviously, and then Randy Moss,
Straight cash, homie.
of course. Finn Frock.
I'm a crypto evangelist. I love it, love it.
Right now, here's a couple. Well, and then when someone squad subs, of course. Now here are the new ones that I've applied to the show, and these are on probationary. They're on probation, or maybe not probation. Yeah, probationary period. They are not firm. I got the Mario coins. I love the Mario coins. It's so nostalgic. I haven't quite figured out when to use Mario coins, honestly, but and then we've got Ryu fireballs, right? Oh, that's not right. That's supposed to be that's Street Fighter Start Stage. That's supposed to be Mortal Kombat saying toasty. And then this one I think is a millennial thing. Anybody younger in chat, let me know when I'm supposed to use this one. When the hell am I supposed to use yeet? My kid says it sometimes, but I haven't quite figured out when you're supposed to say yeet. Someone tell me when to say yeet. Or is that even appropriate? Is that politically correct? Should I be saying yeet? I don't know. Oh, crap. No, don't say yeet. Use it when something gets thrown or tossed, when you throw something. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right, I'll have to figure out when I'm throwing something. Probably like throwing my my rage around. Where's my Mortal Kombat one? When I'm throwing something. That one, and my oldest son wants to record his voice and say bro sheesh, I think. Apparently that's another one. Bro sheesh. There it is. Mario coins on subs. I can do that, Karen. That's a good one. To yeet. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Sheesh. Yeah. All right, so maybe I'll keep yeet. I'll keep yeet. Maybe I'll move Hadouken. Maybe I'll move Hadouken and just have my son do the sheesh one, and he taps his elbow, whatever that is. I don't know these things, man. When you take something from one, even if they're trying to stop you, yeet. Oh, Toasty. All right. If anyone has any suggestions for some audio sound effects that you think would work for the show, holler at me. The soundboard's fun. I actually made a separate. This soundboard allows you to it has 8 pads, but you can program like infinite amounts of the 8 pads. So this is my Simply Cyber First Things First pad, and I have a pad for when I play Threat Gen, Red versus Blue, because I've been doing that quite a bit on stream. A bunch of like trash talking type sound effects. By the way, I'll be taking on Josh Mason on May 18th. That's quite a ways away, but I'll be heads up playing Josh Mason on Red versus Blue live, and we're actually doing it where I'll be playing on Simply Cyber. Josh will be playing on Josh's channels, and Threat Gen will be shoutcasting the event with like commentators, right? Play-by-play and color commentary. So you can watch me and listen to me, or you can watch Josh and listen to Josh, or you can watch it as like a esport type event, or you can jump around for all of them, right? So, all right, guys, throw some Mario coins out for everybody for the weekend. All right, that's going to do it for First Things First. Genuinely appreciate all of you. You guys are the Simply Cyber community. It's nothing without you, so thank you. Y'all have a good weekend, and I look forward to seeing as many of you as can make it at 3:30 for the Threat Gen. Hit thumbs up on your way out. It definitely helps with the algo. Not that I really care too much about that. Hey, Ed, Spastic. Be good, everybody.